Oh, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. Once again, we have Barrister Austin Manta here to discuss several issues, topical issues that has to do with the country Nigeria. And Barrister Manta is a legal practitioner, but very old one at that, of over 40 years in active practice. So, Barrister Manta, thank you once again for joining us on this show. This show, as I said earlier, you seem to be my co-anchor on this show, and honestly, I feel highly honored that you actually kind of make all the time make yourself available to be on this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here.
All right, let's kick into what the matters that are arising today. Labour Party. Let's start with Labour Party. We are about 2 weeks ago or thereabout. We had Obi and Obi and Governor Oti and who are they? I think Obi and his vice presidential candidate Dati Baba Ahmed. They had this, I don't know if I'll call it convention or a kind of a meeting that actually at the end of the meeting, there was a communique that was agreed upon, and that was the agreement to appoint a committee, a temporary leadership for the party that is headed by Nenadi Usman, the former Minister for Finance. So, and after that, we had the Abure. That with the after that meeting by the appointment of Nenadi Usman committee, it obviously means that by default, the Abure leadership was ousted, was dethroned. Actually, was set aside, whatever word you want to use to describe that. And thereafter, we had Abure coming out blazing. Not just Abure, his own team, his entire team came out blazing. And thereafter, I think about days later, Abure held a press conference, and in that press conference, he let it all out. They started washing their dirty linen in the public. And in that press conference, he talked about, we remember in the past, recent past, where when Abure was actually labeled with embezzlement or fraud or whatever, or corruption, whatever you wish to call it. When we're told that Abure actually kind of squandered about $1 billion or embezzled billions of campaign resources. Then the finance, this treasurer even came publicly, said so many things on how the finances, in fact, she came out actually strongly against Abure to actually affirm that story that Abure stole the money. And all that, Abure actually, I think in his recent press conference, he actually laid all that out and brought out all the dirty linen inside that was in the secret, brought it all out for everyone to hear that Obi was actually exclusively responsible for the campaign funds, and Dati Baba Ahmed, his assistant or his vice candidate, was in charge of the 19 northern states finances, the campaign finances, actually. So now, in that, towards the end of the meeting, there was this legal issue that came up where Abure rained hell and brimstone, threatening that the party, that his leadership remains. As far, in fact, everything he said there alluded to the fact that he is not going anywhere. So basically, he remains, according to him, he remains a party chairman, and his executive council remains the same executive council, and they remain in charge. So by default, based on what came from him, it's obvious that the party is segmented right now, if you wish to call it that way, which means that it's factionalized. They have various factions, and I don't know where Arabambi seem to be. The Arabambi camp seem to be quiet at this time. If they are still, if they are yet to sheath their sword, it obviously means that we have not just two camps. We have three camps right now in the Labour Party. Barrister, let's start from the legal aspect of it. By law, who is by law is the Peter Obi camp is the Peter Obi camp authorized to dissolve as because Abure noted all those things in his conference, that they dissolved everything. The Peter Obi camp, during that meeting, they dissolved the entire leadership from ward level up to the top. So first is Peter Obi and his compatriots, are they legal? That meeting, was it legitimate? Is it legally binding? Are they on the right course? Was the law on their side when they in first place when they had that meeting? Was that meeting legally constituted? That is one. If the meeting was legally constituted, what the communique, what they arrived at, is it legal? Where they had to dissolve that I don't know, the Abure mentioned OT dissolved. What is actually the position of Governor OT in the party? Because he seemed to be in the forefront of this whole thing. Does he have the power to dissolve the entire Congress from the ward level to the national level? And if he has the power, do they have the power? Does their camp have the power to constitute another executive committee? So these are the ones, and do they have the power? If they have the power to, of course, if they have the power to constitute an ad hoc committee, obviously they will have. It means by default they will have the power to actually dethrone the existing committee, sort of. So, Barrister, these are the questions. There are so many of them, but can you take them one after the other, if you don't mind?
Thank you very much. I think we should start this discussion by stating that the reference to Peter Obi camp or OT is misplaced. It's not actually accurate. When you sequence the problem from his foundation, you will understand that they were not acting as Peter Obi, they were not acting as OT. From the beginning, you are aware that the tenure of Abure-led executive expired way back in June. And he has been blacklisted by INEC. He is no longer recognized as the leader of Labour Party by law and by INEC. They are supposed to, even before the tenure elapsed, they are supposed to convene a national convention to elect new leaders. And the way parties operate is before you go into the national convention, you constitute congresses from the ward level, local government level, state level, zonal levels to put in subsidiary executives at those levels, leading up to the national convention that will now elect fresh leadership. That is the way the parties operate. In this case, Abure did not put any machinery in motion to conduct the world congresses, the local government congresses, the state congresses that will lead to a national convention. And for that reason, INEC did not remove its recognition, and the party in law became rudderless. There was no recognized leader. It was in that atmosphere that what you call Peter Obi camp or OT camp, along with others, convened a national executive council meeting of the party. Don't forget, the National Executive Council is the highest organ of the party. It is the one that takes decisions on behalf of the National Convention. There is a National Working Committee that runs the party on a day-to-day basis. That is the National Chairman, National Secretary, and other officers. They to act on behalf of the National Executive. They are members of the National Executive. But because people are, the National Executive is over 100 membership, you can't have all of them running the party on a day-by-day basis. So National Working Committee runs the party on a day-by-day basis. Whenever a very important matter comes, the National Executive convenes and takes decision. But on a day-to-day basis, the National Working Committee, headed by the National Chairman, runs the party. So the meeting that was convened was a National Executive Council meeting of the party with an expanded National Executive inclusive of stakeholders of the party. And let me point out that in this National Executive Council, the National Chairman and his group did not attend, but all the stakeholders of the party, all the senators, all the House of Reps members, the party's sole governor, and the party's presidential candidate, who by convention is the leader of the party, with his deputy, were in attendance. So to refer to that meeting as Peter Obi's camp is not entirely correct. That meeting was a proper National Executive Council meeting of the Labour Party, and they are the highest organ of the party. In view of the fact that the tenure of Abure has expired and no steps were taken to put in proper structures of the party, they had to, and because nature upholds a vacuum, they had to put in structures that will conduct or enable world congresses to be conducted, local government congresses to be conducted, state, before a national convention will be conducted to elect a fresh leadership. Such group cannot be called national executive. They are a caretaker or interim committee because they are not elected by the people. So that is the position that is today.
So that is legal, right? So law is on their side.
It is fully legal. They are fully in charge of the party. Now, issues that these people are throwing up now are distractions. Issues of embezzlement of money, and this are distractions from the real issue of leadership. Who is going to lead, or who is leading the Labour Party now? They are just mere distractions. Let the main thing be done. Let the leadership of the Labour Party be empaneled from the world level up to the national level. Then the issues of embezzlement can be sorted out. Arabambi also issued, I saw what was attributed to him, attacking Peter Obi, attacking Aisha, that they are the embezzlers of money. So you can see that they are throwing mud. They are trying to throw mud on the whole issue. And in that atmosphere, you can also remember when we discussed the crisis at the beginning, the fact that the ruling party, the APC's hand was seen in the crisis.
Yes.
At any opportunity, when something like this happens, you can bet your life that the hand of the ruling party is in it, in it to protract the crisis, to bring confusion to something that they see as a threat, as a challenge, even going before and going forward. So that is the situation now. Abure does not want to go. remember his crisis with the other people, Arabambi and Co.
Yeah.
was there
Yeah.
for a long time. They seem to have banded together now because now they face a common,
Common
what they
enemy.
seem to be a common enemy in Peter Obi, Alex Oti, and Aisha, who was coordinating the presidential campaign funds. So that is the situation. They don't want to go and they want to fight, and they are lending themselves to be used by external influences to destabilize the party. It's like, okay, if I don't get it, I will just spoil the show. That is what is on ground now.
Yeah, but I don't get it. Julius Abure is a lawyer. I don't know. Is he a practicing lawyer? Are you aware of that?
I
Has he
don't
been
know whether
practicing,
he
or
has been
he's just
practicing.
like a wiki who claimed to be a
I don't
lawyer?
know
But
if he has been practicing, but it's just like Wike. But the issues when you are in politics and doing these things, you don't consider things on legal basis. It is not you do you maneuver. It's all a maneuver. You keep the law aside. You may know the law is not on your side, but that is not the issue. As far as you can maneuver, there are people who will support you financially and otherwise to destabilize the party. In that sense, you are also going to gain either financially or otherwise. It's a fight that defies the law because you say, okay, go to court, then we begin to drag the court from here to there. It serves no purpose. So, but you that is losing have nothing to lose. So you say, okay, we will drag it. That is just what is on ground now.
yeah, it's so sad that we have this nonsense still going on in Nigeria. That is the problem I have with this facade called democracy in Nigeria. Because just like you noted, um, lawyers. I don't know if he's a lawyer, just as this crazy wiki is too. I don't know what is happening with Nigerian Bar Association. There are lawyers that are supposed to they are supposed to be sanctioned. It's just like you have similar situation in the court where you see some lawyers, real lawyers, bringing up some frivolous yeah, charges here and there, something they know it is just not there. It's not on their side. They just want to waste the judge's time, a sort of, and the resources or government resources to just go through something they know that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. Why do we have to continue in this way, squeezing, and the system is already crowded? Why do we have to keep crowding the system? Why do we have to keep choking the system? We're talking about the judiciary, the lags, all manner of lags in the judiciary that has to do with transparency and competency and corruption and every other thing or whatever. And some of this corruption, these issues borders the issue of being overwhelmed with a whole lot of cases, and some of them are cases like this, for God's sake, cases that are not, you really that this is not viable. Why bothering the justice? Why taking it to court, thereby taking the time away from more important cases? Barrister, don't what is the job of NBA, for God's sake, Nigerian Bar Association? Is there such thing? Is there no mechanism to actually sanction some of these people that are lawyers, that they know they are lawyers, but they just like you said, when they come to politics, you just set everything aside. Now that's setting aside. Why do we have to? Why would the system accept or tolerate that radicalism, that shenanigan, whatever shenanigan attitude? Is there nothing to actually check this such excesses in the system?
Well, the legal profession has a disciplinary body called the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. It's actually very active, but it is also limited by certain complications. Like this one now, the politics that they are doing now at the level of politics. Now, if a lawyer misconducts himself in his capacity as a lawyer, that's a different thing. He will be brought before the discipline committee. If you bring the profession in your capacity as a lawyer, you bring the profession to disrepute, you can be charged before the discipline committee, and appropriate punishment will be meted. And on that level, the Legal Practitioners Discipline Committee has been very vibrant. There are frequent notices. You see certain lawyers disciplined by being disbarred for life, some for 5 years, some for a certain number of years, as the case may be. It's a full case. The case of these people acting, who are lawyers, acting as politicians, is a bit complex. They're acting in the capacity of politicians and making an argument that the NBA on its own cannot just sit, constitute itself as a court and say, okay, you are right, the other person is not right, based on the politics that is involved. So it is a difficult situation for NBA to go forward and take disciplinary action against lawyers acting as politicians. You know the case of Wike. Now you know Abure. Other people are also involved. The former Attorney General of the Federation, Mike Ondaka, if you recall.
Yes. Ondaka.
When he wrote a court judgment had been given that a member of the House of Reps from, I believe, Cross River or Akwa Ibom was the legitimate and lawful winner of that election. In his capacity as the Attorney General, he wrote INEC and wrote the House of Reps that they should not swear the person in. And meanwhile, the decision of the court was from the Court of Appeal, which was the final court. There was no further appeal by law. So he writing those letters was a total abuse of his office as Attorney General of the Federation. And this led to the House of Reps obeying the letter, not swearing in that candidate. And the thing dragged on until the tenure, that 4-year tenure ended. The man never sat in the House. So he instituted an action in the court that went all the way to Supreme Court. And the judgment was there barring him from public office for the rest of his life. But the damage had been done. He suffered nothing. After that, he left the government of Yaradua. He's living his life. So there are ways they try, the system itself does not reach the lawyers who are acting in the political capacity. It only disciplines those who are acting in the legal capacity.
All right. But because honestly, I don't know why this is one of the bane of the what we call democracy. That is one of the reasons why I hate. I've said it earlier, and I cannot be overemphasized. I hate democracy for this reason. For God's sake, why would people be wasting the resources, public resources, for God's sake, for cases they all know that it is not viable? I remember this is exactly what I do when I have a case. I ask you, I want to hear from you, and the moment you give me a red light that there is nothing there, I just don't want to go there. And if it is something that I remember that's my model. That's where I operate, because that is what should be. That should be the norm. That should be the standard. You ask the lawyer, what is your... But the problem is
that is the way you operate. But if you are a politician in Nigeria, you will see that you will not operate in that way, because everybody in Nigeria knows that the system is rigged, the system is a farce. So how you get there does not matter. That is the truth. Everybody knows that do whatever you can to get there, to be ahead. It does not matter. The law is not the issue. If you can kill somebody to be there, do it. If you can use any means to be there, do it. And we have examples. Even the whole election, people saying they have taken it and they will run away with it. So we know, and we have discussed this on this level. So they are coming from that angle that whatever I can do to remain in office or to go ahead, I will do it, irrespective of the provisions of the law. Because
Well,
no politician really believes in this democracy. Nobody really believes in this system, let me tell you.
yeah, that is it, and that brings us to my point. What I've been hammering on: why sustaining this democracy? Why do we have to sustain it? That is the reason why Nigeria we don't have the capacity to actually bear this burden called, I call it burden. It's a serious burden because it is ripping Nigeria of our hard-earned resources. Our resources is extremely depleted by this system of government. This system of government is too expensive. We are an indebted nation, so highly indebted, that more burden will actually cause the crumbling of the nation. If we continue with this expensive charade called democracy, Nigeria is going to, we're almost at the bankruptcy level. So we are going to be damaged. So it will go beyond even being bankrupt. The country will be damaged severely. And so I hope the people who are in the position to do the right thing are really, really doing something behind the scene. I'm talking about the military guys. Honestly, I hope and I hope. Otherwise, like I always say, we will be left with no option. But if the military does not do the needful, we'll be left with no option but a revolution. And a revolution, when a revolution comes, obviously it will eventually amount to, because it will come when a real revolution, because it will come to a point where the government is trying to actually strangle the revolution, or strangle the people, the masses coming out to cry or to protest, a sort of. And at that juncture, it will get to a point where the masses will then resist government. What happens? It will end up in violence. So, and that is just, we don't want to get there, because a violent revolution is it will affect everybody. Unfortunately, even though that will yield results, it's sort of, there's no doubt about that, it will yield result, but we don't want to go there because it's going to be very, very bloody. So I hope the people who are in the right position to actually do the needful, especially in the military, to be precise, I hope they are working on that.